Hey all, welcome to Parker's Reefs. In today's episode we're talking polycarbonate lids to stop your fish jumping out of the tank. Alright, so thank you for joining me on another episode of Parker's Reefs and another one where we're focusing on my dream reef tank. Now this one here today is a little bit of future planning, which if you followed my journey with this reef tank, you'll know that it's something I love to do. I really love to dive deep into the details and make sure that this tank is going to be absolutely perfect for me in the next 10, 15, maybe even longer years. Now any reefer that's had a fish jump before knows the feeling, and it's absolutely horrible. Not only is it a financial burden, but it's also an emotional burden when you've lost a member of your family and you want to ensure that that never happens again. Now, thankfully, over the last few years, polycarbonate lids have become a real trend in the scene, and even non-polycarbonate lids, just mesh lids are coming out from Cade, Red Sea, D&D. They're all making these really nice mesh guards which you can put on your tank. Now, they work fine, it's not a problem, but it's not exactly dream reef spec for me. I've seen a number of them in use before. They're quite flimsy and they're just really difficult to maneuver on the tank. Some of them look fantastic, but as soon as you go to lift it off, it kind of twists and dips into the water and then you get water dripping everywhere. I don't like it. Now, I have used top lids before from America. I've had some of their smaller lids on some of my other little tanks, and they've been absolutely beautiful quality. And if you were watching this from America, I highly recommend you check out Top Lids or some of the other American companies that are making polycarbonate lids. If, like me, however, you are from Australia, one of the massive downsides from using a company like that is the shipping. Shipping something that's quite large and fragile from one side of the earth to the other side of the earth is super expensive. So I'm really glad to say, well, I hope so anyway, that NVS Aquariums here in Australia are able to produce the same quality of lid whilst doing it from our wonderful land known as Australia, which is going to cut the price of shipping right down. I'm willing to go out on a limb and give it a shot. I've had a look on their Facebook pages, seen some of the work they've done, and I'm happy to put my money where my mouth is and order a lid for this tank here. In fact, I've done so today, and the process was relatively straightforward. I reached out to Nick through his NVS Aquariums page, had to talk about getting a polycarbonate lid built. He asked for the dimensions, and it was made quite easy because when this tank was designed, we actually had a CAD diagram of it. So I was able to give him the top Euro brace size, gave him that, which is perfectly in millimeters. We worked out what the radius corner is so it would fit nice and neatly. Sent off the details, he came up with a design and a quote, came in at $700, which I think for a lid for a tank this size is not bad at all. And when you see the design, you'll see that I've got cord cutouts in the back corners for my two Stream 3s. I've gone for 3 feeding doors because I like to feed sometimes in this corner, sometimes in the middle, and sometimes in that corner. I've made nice large feeding doors so that regardless of any sort of auto feeder or anything I go in the future, I'm going to be able to make it work. And I think for $700 is quite fair. Again, this is a polycarbonate lid. It's not acrylic, so polycarbonate's a little bit, it's a different material. It's not going to warp. It stays very nice and clear. It's very strong. He uses a nice clear mesh. It comes fully assembled. You just literally put it on your tank, and that's exactly the kind of convenience I'm looking for. So I'll show you the design on screen, and then I guess we'll just wait. Nick's estimating somewhere between probably around 5 to 10 days for this to be manufactured, and then a couple days in post. So as soon as this box gets here, I'll grab the camera back out and we'll go through the process together. All right, the day has come. My postie has just brought me this lid. So as you can see, I haven't opened it yet, and I'm wanting to be careful with my trusty blade here because I don't want to scratch the lid at all. Oh, this is some nice packaging. And I'm not sure if you can see there, but each of the doors have been individually packaged up as well. Man, I'm channeling all sorts of vibes from like Christmas Day 1989 opening this up. But it does feel a little bit like a Christmas from yesteryear. Oh yeah, that's nice. Wow, that's some solid polycarbonate. Beautiful. I'm going to sit that one there. There's a few of these doors to open up. fact, I want to bring one of these up to the camera so you can see just how clear they are. It's completely over the lens now. So clear. Check out the tabs on that. It's just been machined so crystal clear. Beautiful. Very nice. All right, here we go. Oh man, a little bit of foam in there. Man, that is tidy. What nice workmanship. The mesh on this is so fine. I've seen other lids where they use quite a coarse mesh, and things like little filefish or whatnot could jump through them. I'm telling you now, nothing could jump through this. What a beautiful lid. I'm gonna get the other one out, wrapped up individually from that one. No chance of any damage in post, which there certainly was not any damage at all. All right, I'm gonna jump up on the chair and get these lids in place. That fits like a glove. Installed. I'll bring the camera in so you can have a closer look at the finished product. All right, I've got the camera. Let's jump in for a closer look. Check out that beautiful lid. Absolutely fits like a glove. We've got 3 large feeding doors, one up the far end, one here in the middle between the 2 pieces, and one up this corner here. I've only elected for a single cable cutout in each back corner because this should be all the flow pumps I'm ever going to run on this tank, and there's only 2 that have cables coming out. So I've got one for the Stream 3 at this end and one for the Stream 3 at that end. This gives you an opportunity to see just how fine that mesh is. Very nice. And the frame is so ultra thick, but it does have this little extra bracing here. So it's not too thick of just polycarbonate. It's got this sort of braced section around the outside that gives you maximum room for breathability, but also keeping nice and strong. And you can see when it sits on these tabs here, that it sits nice and flush. There's nothing stopping flow, nothing stopping air, but everything stopping fish jumping out, which is not really a concern for me right now, but down the track when we get some wrasse in this tank and some other fish, I don't want to find them jumping. And even though I've got this fairly large Euro brace, I don't know, fish become part of your family, and the last thing you want to do is find them sitting up here on the brace cooking under these lights, or falling over the back and making a nice little smell on the lounge room for years to come. So this lid is going to keep everything that should be in the tank, and also the side benefit of keeping everything that should not be in the tank out of the tank. Super nice. And I mean, you're not going to be able to tell, but it's not restricting light, air, or anything at all. It's completely breathable, which does the trick just beautifully. All right, so it's been a week and a half. In fact, it's been maybe a touch more. It's been 11, 12 days since I installed the lids in my tank, and I'm super happy with how they're going. They're not restricting any light, not restricting any airflow. I'm still getting the full shimmer from the Kessels and the Phillips Coral Cares in the tank. Everything's running really well, and not that I've had any fish try to jump out just yet. Well, not that I know of anyway, mainly because I don't really have fish that are known to be jumpers just yet, but I absolutely do plan on adding some fish that are known to be a little bit skittish and do like to get a bit of speed up and go for the old carpet surf. And this lid's going to make sure that I don't lose any of those valuable members of my family. So I figured I'd just show you how the lid looks, show you that there's no salt creep on it, show you that it works really well. And in fact, I'll pop open the hood. One of the things I love about these polycarbonate lids the most is just how easy they are to remove. They're not flimsy like some of the other net kits you see around. They've got quite a rigid frame. So I'll just lift one off. And you can see, I can even hold it out with one hand there. They're very strong. You don't have to worry about when you're lifting it up, the one edge is going to flip and dip into the water and then get all your mesh all dirty, and then you get salt creep on there. These things stay nice and dry, and you can see that even when the frame gets a little bit of condensation on it, because the frame has got this vented, routed edge, you're really just left with that super fine, super clear mesh, which does the trick really well. Now, I do want to touch on one thing, one little modification I made, and you may remember when I unboxed this lid, I ended up with 6 feeding doors, and that's because I personally requested an additional 3, and that's because I wanted to make a little modification on them. I wanted to just drill and tap a little 6x1mm thread and put some of these nylon bolts in there, which just makes it easy for me to reach up here and lift the lid, a feeding door off. Without these, if I show you one of the ones that's not modified, like this plain one here, it was actually pretty difficult to do without getting the chair, and I want to make sure that the lid's as easy to use as possible, otherwise it's just not going to end up staying on the tank, and the moment it's not on your tank is the moment that a fish jumps out. So like I said, I modified these just to put that little nylon thumb screw on there. That allows me to blindly just reach up and lift up the feeding door. I know I've got one in this corner, one in the middle, and one in that corner. It makes it super easy for me. Whether NVS want to consider doing that as a modification on their future lids, it'll probably depend on you. With the canopy, you don't really see the little thumb screws because I normally have the door closed, but if you had an open top tank and you wanted to go for that ultra clear look, you probably wouldn't have the little thumb screws, but it worked for my scenario very well. All right, I'll wrap the video up there. Super cool bit of gear. I know polycarbonate aquarium lids are nothing new. In fact, I've been doing them in the States for a long time. I've done videos before on a couple of lids that I've got from Top Lids in the USA, which make absolutely beautiful lids. And if you are in America, guys, I highly recommend you use Top Lids because probably one of the biggest downsides for us Australians using Top Lids was the shipping was just unbelievably expensive. So having a high quality local manufacturer make these polycarbonate lids here is an absolute no-brainer for us to switch to. I've also played with acrylic lids before, and whilst they're cheap, they're relatively cheap. They're easy enough to make at any local plastic place. I do find after some time the acrylic starts to warp, which gives you a pretty cheap looking finish. So paying the extra up front for the polycarbonate is going to ensure that that stays perfectly flat over time. Plus the convenience of me not having to make it was a huge thumbs up. One other thing I'd like to shout out is NVS Aquariums. They make these for all size tanks. They make custom ones obviously, but as they do tanks as they go, they keep all the dimensions and things there. I've passed a number of people on that have come to me looking for Waterbox Cube 20 lids. I now say that I'm not doing them in acrylic, it's just too much work. It's honestly, I was making like $5 a lid out of it. It just wasn't worth my time and it was a lot of stress. I passed them on to Nick at NVS Aquariums, and I know he's sold a bunch of them. So if you're chasing not an acrylic, a polycarbonate lid for your aquarium, go to the NVS Aquariums Facebook page, have a look at some of their work, get some inspiration, have a chat to Nick there, see what you can work out for your tank. Be sure to say you saw it on Parker's Reef because that always goes a long way to helping out my stance in the industry and ensures that I get an opportunity to do videos like this in the future. Other than that, guys, I will wrap the video up. If you have any questions, comments, feedback, anything at all for either myself or the team at NVS Aquariums, be sure to pop it in the comment section down below. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. And last but not least, if you're yet to subscribe, please consider doing so. Really goes a long way to helping me out. Till next time, guys, stay safe, keep reefing. Bye.